Hey guys, back for part two of the Shadowhunters season finale review. So in the first part, I left off when Camille, Simon, and Clary went to Magnus's apartment. So gonna start. I'm gonna just keep it off from there. So Clary is like, she asked Simon, if she can talk to him. So they go back, and obviously Magnus and Camille go back a long time. Um, obviously Camille. Well, no, I guess not obviously to some people, but if anyone who has read the Infernal Devices, I think they will know. Camille obviously hurt Magnus a long time ago. They used to be together, but then like Camille kind of just like abandoned him pretty much. So they have some history, and like she's talking to him, and she knows that he has been like she obviously knows that he's been with a Shadowhunter, or he's seeing a Shadowhunter, and then so of course she has to. Of course, there's going to be more relationship drama between Magnus and Alec. So she spins him around and then like kisses him. And then right as that happens, Alec and Isabel come in, and Magnus is like it's obviously a very awkward situation. Like, um, they walk in, Alex sees it, and Magnus is like, she can help us, and then apparently, and then Al, well, not apparently, okay, and then Alec was like, well, apparently that means lip locking, or either him or Isabel said that, but like, um, there was the thing I really liked about the scene though was like at one point Magnus like looked at Alec and he was just like towards Camille. That was pretty funny. Like Magnus was obviously he was put in a very awkward position. So like he just became like really stiff and everything, like really like just like it was really funny. But so yeah, and then like Isabel also was like, like Camille said something about like ending the relationship between him and Alec, and Isabel was like, if you do that, I'll, like, I don't remember what she said, but she obviously was standing up for her brother, and that's another thing that I really liked. For some reason, I really liked that because, again, it really reminded me of the Isabel from the books, because obviously, I mean, I think they've shown that throughout the show. It's not that they haven't shown that aspect of Isabel throughout the show, but I felt like that example in particular really showed Isabel's true character and how much she really cares for her brother. But yeah, so there was that. And I'm trying to remember. There's so much happened in this episode. Clary, yeah, obviously beforehand, Clary wanted to talk to Simon. Um, and I can't even remember what they were talking about. I can't remember what they were talking about. I apologize for that, but anyhow, it turns out that Alec tells Clary and Simon that Valentine has the cup, and Jace. And then earlier, let me go back to Jace. Jace found Hodge. He found him, roaming around because Hodge went to Valentine. Hodge was like, you promised me protection, and Valentine was like, well, I promised you your freedom, so you better run along and enjoy it before I change my mind. So obviously Hodge thought he was going to get more out of that bargain, but he didn't. So he goes out, and then Jace finds him, and Jace is obviously pissed off, and Hodge is like, well, I did it for my freedom, and let's be honest, the Clave punished me for doing something that the Lightwoods were responsible for. Um, and he was like, and then Jace was going to fight him, and Hodge is like, let's be honest here, I taught you everything you know. And then he pulls out the freaking blades that he has or whatever, and then Jace takes out like this like the double sword. It looks like freaking Darth Maul's lightsaber. Like it was like freaking he was pulling out like a Darth Maul lightsaber, except in like Shadowhunter's sword form. So, and then Jace was like, not everything. And then like Hodge shrugged. It was a weird scene. Like it was a weird scene. And then Jace ended up beating him, which again, I found that unbelievable because, yes, Hodge did pretty much teach him everything. So you would think that even though Jace is a very skilled shadow hunter, like one of the most skilled shadow hunters of his generation, you would still think that Hodge would have the upper hand, but apparently not. So Jace beats him. He cuts off he cuts off Hodge's hand, and um what else? Yeah, he cuts off Hodge's hand, and I believe he was wanting to know where Valentine was, and Jace is just like, I'm gonna make your death. I'm gonna kill you very slowly if you don't, so because I think Hodge was like, you're just like your father, and Jace is like, well, you'll know how slow your death will be if you don't, do this. So it ended up with Jace had got a ring. I did miss a few things during this episode. I was kind of distracted, so I did miss a few things. I apologize for that. I missed a few things, but I know that Jace got this ring, to where he could communicate with Valentine like via, like, he put it on, then he could like a a projection of Valentine would show up and he would talk to Valentine. Um, Whatever. I don't even know, but like, so apparently he had that to where he could talk to Valentine, and um so Valentine is obviously going to go after Clary, and he's going to try to find Clary and Simon at the place where Camille took them to find the Book of White. Which I'll jump back to Clary real quick. They do go to the place, and you know Simon signs the deal with Camille, and they're like, okay, Clary's like, okay, can you find the Book of White? And then Camille's like, I would love to. So then she acts like she's gonna go get it, and she's like, well, I don't know where it is. So then, of course she tricked them like that. So then they have to end up looking for it, and eventually Clary ends up finding it because she finds this cookbook, and Simon's like, Clary, that's a cookbook, and then but then she's like, wait a minute, this looks familiar. So she finds the bookmark, which she's like, remember, my mom used to make chicken cacciatore all the time. So she opens the book to where the bookmark is, and obviously the bookmark looks familiar to her because apparently, I guess Clary's mom used that book before. So she connects the other half of the bookmark, apparently with the half of the bookmark that's in the book, and then it reveals the Book of White, the actual Book of White. So so it was also disguised, which again that wasn't in the book, but whatever. So she found the Book of White that way. So good job, Clary, for being clever. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that, but yeah, they find the Book of White, and obviously before Jace had tracked down Hodge, and he had called Luke and Alec over, so they got him, and Valentine ended up, Clary and Simon tried to get out of there, but they came, and Valentine went and cornered them he came through a portal, ended up finding them, and he obviously, he wants to bring Clary and Jace back, but then Jace comes in, and he has his sword up, and then Valentine is obviously taunting him again. He's saying, I have so much more to teach you, and Clary's like, I'll just give you the Book of White as long as you let, as long as you let everyone go, you can have the Book of White, and then Valentine is like, oh, you're just like your mother, but I don't want the Book of White. It was never a step in my plan, and but he still wants to wake Jocelyn up so he can take her as well. And he has the Shadowhunters he's created. He has like Alec and Isabel. Did he have Magnus? Did he have Magnus as well? I can't remember. I know he had Alec and Jace. Or he had Simon too. Seemed like he had someone else, but I can't remember. But anyways, Valentine was going to kill Jace's. He was going to kill everyone if Jace didn't come with him. So Jace is finally, he lowers his sword and he's like, fine, I'll come with you. So Clary's obviously like, no, Jace, Valentine's wrong. What are you doing? Don't do this. And then Jace is just like, I'm sorry, Clary. So he ends up going with Valentine through the portal. And obviously Clary is very upset about that. So Jace ends up going with Valentine, which again is not from the book. Like, Jace never, like, in the second book, City of Ashes, like, Jace does go to Valentine, like, he goes to Valentine and talks to him, but he doesn't actually end up going with him to, Idris, I believe. Was it Idris? Goes with him to Idris, or was it Idris? Remind me in the comments. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting so much, but yeah. So obviously Jace ends up going with Valentine, and Alec, and Jace is just like, I mean it, Alec, stay there, don't do anything, because Alec was going to obviously do something. So Jace goes with Valentine through the portal, and then they end up going back to the Institute, and they have Hodge, which I'm guessing they're going to send Hodge to Alicante, so he can go in that the prison where he ends up being in City of Glass. I'm guessing that's what they're going to do with him, but who knows? It's the TV show. But Clary's talking with Simon, and Simon's just like, he's trying to joke around, because he says, Jace is tough, and he tries to joke around. Clary's just like, Simon, not now. And so Simon is just like, don't lose hope, we'll find him, So, he says he loves Clary. Clary says he loves him too, and then he hugs Clary. And I don't know if they're going to start a relationship or not. Like, they're going to do the whole Simon and Clary relationship that was in City of Ashes. It looks like it's being set up, but I don't know if they're going to do it. Maybe, who knows? Maybe they'll end up doing it, but I'm not sure. But anyways, and then I remember Magnus and Alec were having a chat. Magnus is like, I haven't seen her in years, whatever, decades, a century, whatever. So they're talking, and then they bring Magnus up, and they eventually end up waking Clary's mother. They end up waking Jocelyn up, which is another thing I don't feel that great about. I'm very mixed about, because it's like, I feel like they should have waited to be able to wake Jocelyn up in the TV show until like at least the second season. Because I feel like it's just so rushed. Like, I feel like they woke up Clary's mom too soon. Like, because if you remember in the books, her mom didn't get waken up and didn't wake up. They didn't bring her out of the sleep until book 3. But now it's like we're not even past the first season yet, and they've already woken her up. It just feels so rushed. And then Clary is just like happy to see her. And, Jocelyn is obviously like, I'm sorry I kept everything from you. And Clary's just like, it's okay, I'm just glad to see you. When obviously in the book, Clary, it was the opposite. Clary was really happy to see her, but she was mad at her mom, though. She was mad at her mom beforehand, though, because she was upset with her that she had kept everything from her. So that's another small thing that I wish they could have kept with the books, but they didn't, whatever. I think that's pretty much everything, and then obviously it closed out with Valentine, addressing his new army of Shadowhunters that he's building up, and Jace is at his side. Jace obviously does not want to be there. He didn't. It's not the decision that he would have made, but he had to given the circumstances. So Jace is with Valentine for now, and the show ends on that note. So, on that note of, Jace is with Valentine now, so now what'll happen? So they did kind of end it with a cliffhanger in a way, and with a sort of a bang, I guess. But I don't know. I felt like the waking of Jocelyn was too soon, and I felt like there were some things in this episode that just weren't believable, like Clary having the sword to Camille's neck, and Jace beating Hodge so easily. But I don't know. I had mixed feelings, but I guess it was okay. Acting wise, I feel like this is probably one of the best episodes of the entire show so far. Pretty good episode. I'd give it like a B- or a B, maybe. I don't know. Pretty decent episode overall. Yeah. So good. This is the end of the first season. Whenever the season 2 comes back, I will be back with more reviews, and I will give updates. I think it's going to come back in like mid-October, but anyways, I have to cut this video. Like, subscribe if you want to. Let me know in the comments what you think, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace.